So to start the removal of the alternator belt replacement, I'm just going to remove the negative earth battery cable. And then it's straight to business. First thing I need to do here is to remove the engine mount to get some good access. So there are two nuts on either side. These are both 12mm. They weren't that tight. That middle bolt that you can see there at the top was much tighter. I do have much longer ratchets that would have made this a piece of cake, but I just wanted to show that even with some simple socket sets you can still do quite a lot of work. You just need to put in a little bit more effort. And there we go. I didn't show this, but you do need to place a jack under the sump. Most people say with a block of wood. I always prefer with like a rubber pad or something before you fully release it. This is the through bolt that holds the mount into the bracket on the inner wheel arch. And then there's a little ground cable down there which is 10mm. Once you've undone the 10mm, there is also a little Christmas tree style fitting that goes into the mount there. You can see I'm wiggling it, that just pulls out. And then you just lay that up and out of the way, and then the mount just pulls up out of its position. The mount might need a little bit of wiggling. Now I'm just showing you where the bolts are here. I didn't actually remove the alternator, but if you do want to remove the alternator, there's a bolt there at the top that I'm showing. And then there is a bolt at the bottom on this side of the alternator, which you can see there. And then there's one more bolt on the other side. If you have air conditioning like I do, it's a bit harder to get to. So I used a long spanner here, as you can see. And then I just pull the bolt towards me. And that seems to work fine. And then you can see that little red piece there that's got a 13mm underneath, and then you just unplug that plug and you're away. You should be able to get the alternator out from there. However, I didn't remove that, I just wanted to show you guys while I was there. These are the 10mm bolts that hold on the bracket for the belt tensioner. It's a manual tensioner, so there is one bolt that you can undo. I try not to try that just in case if it's seized, I don't want to snap it off. So what I tend to do is just remove the whole bracket and then I clean up the bolt. Or if the bolt's fine, I just put it straight back in. But I prefer to inspect that outside of the car. So I remove the these two 10mm there, they're out. And then with a 17mm, I loosen up that pulley in the middle. The reason I remove those two 10mm first is so there's a little bit of give in the bracket so the belt doesn't ping off or you don't damage any threads on the spindle of the there's a little spindle that this idler goes onto, and that's that. Give it a little spin and check it for play. This one here felt okay, sounded okay, so I gladly reused it and saved myself some money. And then just slip off the belt. It's a little bit tight on this car. On most cars that are front wheel drive, some of these can be really difficult to do actually. Just getting your hands in there is hard, but I tend to just push it down past the pulleys like I just showed you. Then you go underneath and you can grab it there. And that's it. You already have the old belt out. And you can see from all the cracking that this belt was ready to go bang any day now. So I'm glad that I've replaced it. I'm glad that I've removed it as a matter of course. With these cars that don't have cam belts, they often get forgotten. So there's one more bolt down here at the bottom. Also a 10mm. That one was surprisingly tight as well. and then once that's undone, the whole bracket comes out. So I'm just showing here, I've just put the bracket back on because my bolt happened to be fine. If it wasn't, you would just spray it with some WD-40. And then when you go to put it back on, you push the tensioner in. So you can see there where I've got it all back in. The belt is aligned. It's a very, very simple belt routing. You don't need to panic about getting that wrong. Very simple. So you just do up that bolt at the bottom there that I've just showed, the two at the top. And now this is the 12mm bolt down the back of the tensioner. And if you're struggling to visualize it or you can't see anything, I recommend just removing the bracket completely like I showed and just having a good look to familiarize yourself. Essentially what you do is you just wind the bolt and keep going until the tension on the belt is nice and tight. You don't want it too tight. Usually at the longest point you just want to be able to turn the belt halfway on itself, but not all the way over, otherwise it'd be too loose. And if you can't turn it that far, it might be too tight. And now with our 17, we just go back in here. Just make sure this is tightened up. And that's that. The rest of it now is just a case of reassembly. So we've got our main bolt here, going down into the bracket on the engine. There are torque settings for these. I must admit I didn't torque them down, but usually I would. Tighten down to either side. Because they're quite small cars, these bolts are actually surprisingly not that tight. And then we've got our 3-bolt down here. And now the one thing left to do is to clip back in that Christmas tree fitting so that that wire isn't flapping about in the breeze. And then put in this little 10mm bolt that holds the earth eyelet to the body. Tighten it up, and that's it. That is the entire process. All you need to do now is start it. If it squeals, chances are you need to tighten it up a little bit more. But you can fiddle around with that to your heart's content. All I needed to do now was just remove my jack, and that was the end of it. So I hope this helped. It's quite a simple job. Very nice and simple to DIY, so if you give it a try, by all means let me know how you get on. And if you have any other tips, then please leave a comment and maybe you'll help somebody else out.